Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's your guy Perrier, and we are back with another video. Yo, and this time, man, I want to go ahead and just kind of reflect, kind of absorbing the whole Kendrick album. Just dropped, obviously, and I just wanted to really just talk with y'all, and kind of just go into my own little thoughts and really reflecting on what he's saying, what this album is. So yeah. Let's go. Alright, y'all, welcome back. Yo, like I said, I'm just gonna go ahead and kind of go through my reflections listening to this album. Save y'all some time. Quick disclaimer, this isn't, an album review. It's just dropped. I mean, it's been out for a day, at least as I'm recording this video. This is not an impressions. This is not a reaction video. I ain't want to do anything too clickbaity or whatever. Just kind of give y'all my perspective of what's going on. My thoughts, where he's coming from, conceptually, lyrically, and sonically on this project. So yeah, So, if it ain't for you, it ain't for you. You can roll. It's okay. It's okay. There is plenty of content out on YouTube regarding that y'all can check out. But I just wanted to kind of have more of a real feel for this album. So right off the jump, to me, the album plays more like a therapeutic release for Kendrick. Kendrick's talking about this whole range of different subject matters in this album. He's talking about toxic relationships, clout chasing and fake wokeness, the social media stage and having an opinion, and everybody pretty much participating in cancel culture, black trauma in families. He even talks about the LGBT community on the track as well. So he's talking about a wide range of things on this album. And I do applaud him for that, because it's like, some stuff does need to be discussed. We're in an age right now where it's like music in general, we're just trying to chase a hit. And I'm going to touch on that a little bit later. I do applaud him for coming with that material and not being afraid to kind of discuss it. All right, so my opinion on the subject matter, I feel like this is Kendrick Lamar's one of his best writing that he's probably done on an album, just because he's talking about a wide range of items that we discussed just a moment ago. If we're being real, like it's really the most mature writing he's done thus far, which makes sense because he's a little older now. He's kind of gone through stuff, and he's seen some stuff, and that's just kind of where you go logically in life, right? I think he's shown a lot of like good introspective ideology shown on this album, and I think that can be seen on like a lot of his different tracks on this project. One that stands out to me was Mother I Sober. When I look back at a track like that, Kendrick is going into very, very deep, obviously, black family trauma. He has a very somber and chill tone throughout the actual track. But it's one of those tracks to where it's like you can't listen to it the first time because you're not going to catch everything. You might even not even catch all the emotion that's kind of being displayed on his track as he's performing it. He's talking about so much on that track. He has his mama that has gone through trauma on that track. And then as the track kind of progresses, he's talking about so much more. He's talking about the trauma of his mother. He's talking about the trauma of his family in general, talking about his own trauma. He's talking about the trauma of rappers that are hiding their trauma through their tattoos and, how they display themselves and stuff. So he kind of almost exposes so much in that track. I just really feel like it was such good writing in general on that track. And even for me, like listening to it, and not to like sound any kind of way or have some kind of shock value to what I'm saying, but it's like that made me a little emotional listening to it. It made me a little uncomfortable because even though I haven't experienced it, kind of sucks you in, to what he's speaking of, and it's so very like emotional to think about because there's so many people that have experienced that. And there's a lot of other good writing on this album too. You got Father Time, which I've got a lot of buzz and stuff. Crown, that's a very good track. Auntie's Diaries, you know what I'm saying? We Cry Together. Like that track is wild in general, but that really kind of showcases him introspectively on this album. I think he really did a good job with the writing and like the storytelling on this album. Very, very, very solid. But that kind of takes me to the other side of this album, and I think it's been more of the controversial side of this album because it's like I'll check out social media and stuff, and people really feel like sonically and maybe even production wise, it wasn't coming with it. It wasn't coming with it. And for me, just so y'all know, like my favorite Kendrick album would be To Pimp a Butterfly, which was that whole jazzy and high energy and high aggression type album. And I knew that going into this, Kendrick wasn't going to make another To Pimp the Butterfly. Kendrick wasn't going to make another Damn. He wasn't going to make another Good Kid. He came into this on its own thing. And I think we all kind of knew that he was going to do that anyway. That's Kendrick. That's how we do, right? And for the most part, I do feel what people are saying. Maybe the production didn't really grab you. It was kind of like, I'm hearing, wild stuff like people are completely disappointed in the album in general. And listen, people are not wrong. You are okay to not like an album. This album does not pay your bills. It's okay. It's okay not to give a damn about this album. No pun intended. I get it. It's okay. I think for me, if I'm looking at the album, if I'm looking at it sonically, I think there's a lot of good standout tracks on this album. For me, that would be tracks like Savior, We Cry Together, N95. Let me look at some other ones. Count Me Out was a good one. Rich Spirit. Yeah, I mean, he got some good tracks. We got some very good tracks on this project. And Mirror, I actually like Mirror a whole lot. And Mr. Morale. I'm gonna just take a second real quick right there to talk about Mr. Morale. Mr. Morale is probably one of the best tracks on this album, in my opinion. And damn man, I wonder why. I wonder why this is probably one of my favorite tracks. But the GOAT was basically doing the production on that track, so I'm not surprised. But definitely one of my favorites in general. But that's just to say that I get it. Your opinion is your opinion. But for me, and me looking at the track and looking at what he was trying to deliver on, he didn't want to go that route. He did not want to go that route. If I'm being real, I think he made this album for him. All right? Let's be very, very clear. And what made me kind of reflect and like think about that, like, all right, well, he made this album for him. And I kind of thought about maybe a track of mine that I'm working on, right? And for the 3, 4, 5 of y'all that may have listened to my music, maybe. What kind of came into perspective when I'm making music is I was making a track, produced it, sung the hook, did a verse, and I was like, I need a rapper. So I kind of hit up some folks that I know. And I was like, hey man, I need a verse. Here's the demo. Let me know what you think. And I got asked like a really very relevant question, but it kind of made me think. And he asked me some questions like, hey, what the direction you going on with this track and XYZ. But then he asked, what is your demographic? And I think for me, I'm like, when I make a track, you might have maybe a demographic, but for me personally, I don't really think about a demographic. I kind of just make music because I want to make music, and I want to make music that I like. Like us struggling artists, when we make music, we'll be the only ones listen to it, and we'll be like, yeah, this is fire. This is fire. And like only 2 people are gonna listen to it, But that's kind of how I approach it. And I think honestly, on maybe a bigger scale, this is how Kendrick was making this music for himself. He was making music and productions that he could live with, that he could digest, and that he would be probably proud to go back to 4, 5, 10 years in advance, and kind of just go back and say, you know what, I'm proud of this work. He wasn't trying to chase hits, which can clearly be shown on tracks like Crown, where he's like, listen, I ain't trying to be nobody but myself at this point. Don't look for me to to do XYZ because y'all just gonna forget about me anyway. That's kind of how I took the track anyway. But that's how I think he felt. He doesn't want to be put on a pedestal. He's done what he needed to do with tracks and projects like Damn and To Pimp a Butterfly and all. He's done that already. So for him, he's like, this is mine. This is for me. That's how I really feel. I think that Kendrick Lamar made that album for himself, for self-relief, for therapy for himself, and that's that.